Hey, thank you so much for considering working with me on this project. I'm really excited to work with you and to learn more about your business and see what we can do to make it grow in terms of your goals. I just made this video because I really quickly just wanted to kind of talk about the process of what it's like working with me and what you should expect with this gig moving forward once you make an order. And there are several steps I'm going to go through in terms of everything that leads up to the delivery, and then I'm also going to answer some frequently asked questions at the end of the video. So if you will stick around for the very end, I'd really appreciate it because I want to make sure that you have all of your expectations totally managed and you totally know what to expect working with me. So the first thing that's going to happen is once you make an order for a package, I'm going to need access to all of your social media profiles that we're going to be advertising from, including your Facebook Ads Manager account. So I'm going to need access to your Facebook page, your Instagram page, as well as your Facebook advertising account, so I can create the ads and then run the ads from the page. Okay, so once I have access to your account, the first thing that I'm going to do is I'm going to look to see if there's any campaign history from the past, because it's possible that there's some data or some hidden gems there that we can use to inform the campaigns moving forward. So it's totally fine if there's no campaign history and if this is a new account and it's your first time running ads, because we can definitely start cold. But if there is any campaign history, I'll definitely look at that and look at things like click-through rates, engagement, numbers like that, to see if there's any data that we can use to inform what sort of copy or creative is working, as well as if we can create lookalike audiences, which I'll explain to you in a moment. So that being said, after I'm in the account and I've looked at the history, given that there is history, and if there is no history, the first thing that I always do is create audiences. Now, I create several different audience variations so that we can kind of ensure the success of the campaigns and just establish good practices moving forward for you. So the first thing that I'm going to do is create custom audiences called custom engagement audiences. And that's where we take all those who've engaged with your brand, either on your website, your Facebook page, or your Instagram page in the last 365, 30, and 7 days. And we put them into these dynamic audiences. And when I say dynamic audiences, I mean that they change and they populate in real time. So as people engage with your brand anywhere on your social media or on your website, these audiences are populating with those engagements and filling up, and we can use them to create a retargeting audience. Now, when I say engagement audience, that's basically anyone who's visited your site, maybe made a purchase, anyone who's become a lead on your site or on your social media profiles. Maybe they've liked a post, commented, shared, visited your page, messaged your page, any sort of actual action that they've done with your brand online, we're going to be able to capture in real time on the custom engagement audiences. Now, once I've established your website visitor audiences and your Facebook and Instagram engagement audiences, I save them all into a retargeting audience. And that way, when we run these ads to the cold audience, which is of course no one who's engaged, or only those who have not engaged with you before, as people engage with those ads that we're funding, we want to make sure that they see different variations of the ads in the retargeting ad set that we're going to create for you. So that's the first step, is just making sure that we have the custom engagements set up as well as the retargeting set up and the initial audience. And I'll begin creating an initial audience based on the product research, maybe some competitor research, and try to get it in that optimum size based on whatever your ad spend budget is. I typically recommend that audiences range from 50,000 people in size to 5 million people in size, and it just really depends on what your budget is and what your industry is as to what size an initial audience should be. But we'll go through, we'll make sure we're targeting the right locations, the right interests, the right demographics, and really get those personas right. Now, as we begin running the ads and driving engagement, what we can do is then create lookalike audiences. And I mentioned these earlier. What a lookalike audience is an audience that looks like an existing audience, right? So let's say that you have a spreadsheet of all of your customers. We can upload that into Facebook and we can create a 1% lookalike audience, say in the United States. So that would be the top 1% of people who most closely resemble all of your existing customers in that case. So based on their interests, demographic information, and the general behavior on Facebook, we're going to be able to create those lookalike audiences. We do the same thing with certain behaviors that we track in terms of engagement. So if we have thousands of engagers, for example, on the ad campaign that we run, we can create lookalike audiences. So we're targeting people who most closely resemble only those who are actually engaging with your brand. And so that's sort of the second phase in the campaign strategy. We start with the first phase with the initial audience and the retargeting setup. And then as we collect enough data, we create these lookalike audiences to increase the performance and decrease the cost per result that we're seeking. Now, once we have all the audiences set up that we want to run the ads to, this is where I start with creating the actual campaigns, the creative, and the copy. Now, what you should expect in the delivery for this gig is several original graphic still image variations of the ads with copy that's informed by competitor research associated with them, as well as perhaps in some cases, especially product cases, a carousel variation of the ads, which are ads with several images next to each other that the audience can scroll through. And in most cases, I'll include a single video variation where I'll make a video for your brand or your product from my end in order to get those engagements as high as possible, especially since video tends to have a higher reach than still images with the way the algorithms are set up with Facebook and Instagram. I tend to create those video variations. So you should expect single image variations of the ad, a carousel variation, and a single video variation in most cases with your delivery. Now, once I have everything set up and ready for your review, what I do is I keep the campaign paused. I take screenshots of all the ads and screenshots of all the targeting, and I also take the single video and I submit them to you. So you'll get a note from me saying that, hey, everything's updated in your Facebook Ads Manager, attached are screenshots of the ad variations that I created, as well as the audience variations that I created, and here is the single video file that I created, which you can use for whatever you want. Here it is attached for you. So you'll have time to review those submissions to you and provide your feedback. Now, I offer as many revisions as it takes because I want to make sure that you're happy. I'm really committed to you being happy with the delivery. And so whatever you want me to change or revisions you want me to make, I'm happy to accommodate those. Now, in this section, I want to talk to you a little bit about some of the frequently asked questions, particularly, are results guaranteed? Now, there are a number of factors that contribute to whether or not a campaign will be successful. Many of them are outside of the purview of or the confines of my services. So for example, factors like website quality, page load speed, product price, market saturation, how many other people are selling the same product, are competitors selling it for cheaper. These sorts of variables all contribute to whether or not an audience member is going to purchase or request your services. So since these factors are outside of my control as just the advertisement campaign creator and manager, I can't guarantee results for sure. That being said, I'm very careful to be as selective as possible about the clients that I work with and to make sure that I'm not giving any false expectations. Many of my clients are seeing incredible return on ad spend, some even as high as 24 to 1 every month. And so I am confident that I will be able to help you, but I cannot guarantee results for certain. So that's the risk that we take. But we should be able to identify, based on certain metrics that we see in the Ads Manager account, what's going on if something isn't working. So for example, if we run an advertisement that has an incredibly high click-through rate, that means that a large percentage of people who see the ad are actually clicking through, but then the conversion rate is low, that typically tells us that the targeting is right, the ad copy and creative are right, but there's something happening on the landing page or the destination or the objective of the ad that's inhibiting people from making the decision. So that's when we know that we need to make changes there. But if the click-through rate's incredibly low, then we know that there probably is something wrong with the targeting and the advertisement. And so that's when we would make changes from our end there. So it's a great question. I wish that I could guarantee results, but unfortunately I can't. That being said, I'm very confident that you're going to be happy with the results. So my service fee does not include ad spend. The ad spend is actually going to be billed directly by Facebook in your Facebook Ads Manager account. With all of my clients and all the gigs and the orders that happen, I work exclusively in the client's Ads Manager account. That way you always have access to the content that I create for you and that data, and your payment method is associated with your Facebook Ads Manager account, and I will manage whatever budget we set or agree upon in terms of ad spend. But my service fee is just for my service. The ad spend will be billed directly by Facebook. When should you expect results? So this is a tricky question to answer because every campaign performs differently for a number of reasons, whether it's a product or whether it's a service. So what industry is it in? What's the market saturation? All these sort of variables contribute to when an ad campaign will perform. I've seen campaigns perform in the first 24 hours, and I've seen campaigns take 30 days of optimization to really get that positive ROI happening. So it really just depends, but hopefully we can get that to happen as soon as possible. But if you don't see results right away, don't fear, because we can make the optimizations necessary to get the best performance there for you.